I bought the 24-year-old Canon 17-35mm lens in 2020. And here is why. Hello everyone, Rocco here, and today, well, you already probably knew from the intro, but we're going to be talking about why I bought a 24-year-old Canon 17-35mm lens in 2020. And the reasons are, well, fairly straightforward. It's an L lens. That's one of the main reasons I bought it, because that red ring on the top of the lens just it oozes quality. It shows that just Canon glass with that red ring, the L lenses, are some of the best glass you can get for any camera, and no matter the age. And actually, I kind of prefer the look of the first generation L lenses over the newer ones. Also, the newer ones are much more expensive, such as the 16-35, which has essentially replaced the 17-35. And honestly, I didn't really see the need to pay much more for the 16-35 when I had a friend who owned the 17-35 and could sell it to me for a pretty darn good price. So I bought it from him, and I've been using it for a few weeks now, and honestly, I really love it. So I'm just going to go into like why I like it and what it can do, and honestly why you should consider possibly buying an older lens if you are looking to get into higher quality glass but don't have the money to buy more recent editions such as the 16-35 Mark II or whatever the heck they're on now. So yeah, back in 1996, Canon released the 17-35, and it was a first generation wide angle L lens with a wide aperture of f2.8, and no image stabilization. It's hard to do that with the 2.8. They've obviously fixed that now with the 15-35 for the RF, which is the mirrorless mount system, which is also very expensive. So yeah, back when the 17-35 first came out, it had many people very excited about the lens, and honestly, it still holds up to this day. The glass, this lens is in very good condition, and I must say, just the quality of the glass, the good, nice, creamy background, the sharpness in the center. Obviously, it's not going to be as sharp on the edges, it's an older lens, but it's nice and sharp in the center, which is good for video, and then just the quality of the glass, right? So it holds up over 24 years, and that's good. I mean, 24 years ago, this lens was revolutionary, and it's still a very good lens nowadays. I bought it because soon I look to be going into full-frame cameras. I mean, I have one, the Canon 6D Mark I. It is full-frame, but the problem is it doesn't have very good video features, so that's why I use my T6i, which is a crop sensor camera for my video shooting. And basically, when I go to full-frame, I want to buy something like the EOS R. I can still use this lens. It'll be a wide-angle lens on there. It'll be even wider, because on this camera, it's multiplied by 1.6. So right now, we're at, I believe, 16 or 17, 18 millimeters. Not too far. Actually, wait. That's 17 millimeters. This is something more like 19. So, let me get back in focus here. So yeah, it goes wide. It's not as wide as the newer ones, but still, 17 millimeters is more than wide enough for the average person. And for video, it's a very good focal length, especially even if you don't have image stabilization built into your camera like the digital IS, or if you're using it in the future iteration with IBIS, it still works just fine. Like, wide angles tend to mask out any like flaws in your movements when you're filming. Those are the good things about the lens. So just to recap, it's very sharp, it's very versatile, and also I might want to add this, but it's very small and lightweight as well, as compared to some of the newer ones, which weigh a bit more. Now let's get into the few things that I do not like so much about this lens. The autofocusing system. For example, let me just pull this out here. I'm going to pull my phone out just to videotape this. Essentially right here, whoops. So right here we have the camera. So there is a box around myself for what I'm doing with the focusing. So I have the servo option turned off, And when I turn it back on, let's just try to move close. Move back. Move close again. It has a really good close focusing distance, but the problem is you can really see the focus motor working hard. It's probably doing more than it should be doing up there, which is kind of a problem, and you can hear it too. So for video, unless you're putting it still on a tripod, I wouldn't exactly recommend it, or if you're just going to be speaking over it. Because older lenses do have older focusing systems, which when you have the newer focusing system built into a camera, it's not that bad. But as this camera, this is a T6i, so it has the pre-dual, it doesn't have dual pixel autofocus, so it has a hard time locking on, especially at a wider aperture. So what I do is I turn Swervo off and lock it once it's locked at a good place, right? So it's locked on my face right now. I've just pressed the button on this tilt screen, and now it's locked onto me, and you can't hear any more autofocusing noise. It's an older lens, so for photos, you will absolutely not mind the autofocus sound. It's normal for older lenses. For video, you may want to be a bit more conservative with it and when you're using it. Like, you don't want to use it in an environment where you're doing like constant like focus changes. Like if you're following someone and you need audio, then I wouldn't use it for that. But for standing it right here on a tripod, it is more than accurate. And I think it's actually really a great lens, especially for low light. So if we're talking low light performance, it's got it. It's a wide aperture, so f2.8 is really, really good, especially since it's 2.8 all the way through. And this is a fairly dim lit room. I'm at ISO 200 right now, shutter speed of 60, filming in 30 frames per second. And it looks just really nice, and it's like average lighting. I have a few lights here. This is a lamp to, you know, kind of give my face a bit of lighting. Then the lens just looks crisp, and it looks fine, and I love it. The lens looks crisp, even in like low lighting circumstances. I just found it to be a really, really awesome lens, despite its age. Which goes to show, like I have the original 70-200 f2.8 IS Mark I. That's an L lens. It's older. I don't know how old, but it still works amazing, especially if you put it on a newer camera. Autofocusing can depend on the lens, but this lens has good autofocusing. It's just a little noisy if you're doing it for video. So yeah, overall, a very amazing lens. And if you want to see more lens reviews in the future, I can certainly do that. I have the 70-200 f2.8L IS1 and the 24-105 f4 first edition. So all first generation L lenses, and I love using them. And honestly, if you want to see reviews of those, do leave a comment below with your thoughts on which one I should do next. Or if you like drone content or any other things that you might be interested, feel free to check out my channel. And I hope you all enjoyed watching this, and please do subscribe and drop a like. It surely helps. I appreciate you all watching. I'll see you all in the next video.